Hello, welcome to this presentation about GCSE Science. I'm Mr. Gibbons, I'm the Head of Science at Downs End, and science is a core subject, so it's not an option. And one of the reasons why it's not an option is because it's so pervasive throughout society. Everything has something in one way or another to do with science. And I thought I'd show us, to start with, a video that says why we study science.
Without even realizing it, you were born a young scientist. You've been exploring the world through your senses and building your own ideas about how it works. But there are many things out there that you can't explain just by making simple observations. Is the universe infinite? What is electricity? What causes cancer? How do birds fly? Why do we fall in love? Science intends to answer these and many other questions about the universe. Science is a way of exploring the world to describe and understand everything that occurs around you and inside you. Scientific knowledge also allows us to create technology and use it to change the world. Like art, science is born from our passion and curiosity about life, and it is everywhere. That's why we study science in school. This is a great adventure. Are you in?
I hope you can see that in this video. There is a whole range of things that science is involved with all around the world. And why do we study science other than all those interesting things that have just been described in that video? Well, we need to develop really important skills that also fit with the school's ethos. So developing a global mindset, something where we take outside of the classroom things that we learn inside the classroom, that we apply knowledge to scenarios around the world, to specific examples. In science, we're completely digital. All of our work is done online. We have OneNote for classwork. We have platforms for homework. Independent learning, revision is all done via our devices. And the future skills is so prevalent in science. The ability to be creative, to think critically, and to collaborate, all exceptional science skills that you will develop throughout a GCSE science course. So what is it in science that we actually study at GCSE? Because we can't study everything, but we definitely break down things into different categories. So there are three sciences. The first is biology. So everyone studies the three sciences. Biology will explain to you about living organisms. So from plants and animals to individual cells and microbes, to how they reproduce and pass on their genetic material, then all the way to ecosystems and how animals interact and organisms interact with each other. So we study a whole range of amazing biological concepts, including photosynthesis and respiration, key life processes that help us to survive. The second discipline, chemistry, we study predominantly the periodic table, which you can see behind me, but we will be looking at rates of reaction and energy changes and generally all the reactions that happen and how they happen in terms of electronic structure. We will look at organic chemistry and use apparatus and techniques that will be useful in identifying unknown compounds. And then we apply all of our knowledge to the Earth and the atmosphere and Earth's resources and how we can sustain them in the long term. The final discipline, physics, understands how the world works and operates. So we look at energy and waves, so light and sound, to particles and atoms, how electricity transfers from one place to another and how we generate electricity, the ideas of forces and magnetism and how they work and how they can be used. So all of those different topics we cover in science. I'm just going to move over here now so I can show you the next slide. So in science, it is core, and we have to decide which course is right for you, combined or separate science. So combined science gives you 2 GCSE grades. You still study the 3 sciences, but you study a third less of each science. Each exam at the end of the GCSE is 1 hour 15 minutes, and there's 6 exams in total, but they all contribute 16.7% of your GCSE grades. You will either do foundation tier or higher tier. Foundation takes you to grade 5 and higher tier takes you to grade 9. And we study the AQA specification. If you're selected for separate science, then you'll do 3 GCSEs. So you add on a third to the content of each of the different sciences. So that means that there's a lot more work, a lot more advanced work that you need to study. Each paper at the end of the year is 1 hour and 45 minutes, and they contribute 50% of your overall marks for that GCSE. So there isn't much room for error with separate science. It's a much more rigorous and more difficult and challenging course. So those decisions happen in year 9, where we look to decide which of the 2 courses is the best for you as you come to year 9. So once you've got your GCSEs, where do you go to next? So I have another little clip here that can show you the sorts of careers and interesting things that you can do in science that might not necessarily be things that you've thought of before. So it's not always about being an astronaut or being a lab scientist. There could be lots of different things you could do. So have a watch of this clip.
So, you love science? Well, what is science, and where could a career in science take you? Science is the best way we have of understanding nature. We may have an idea of how something works, but as new knowledge becomes available, our ideas change, and this is what makes science so exciting. In school, you learn lots of facts, but science is about how you think, too. Scientific thinking helps you approach problems in an organised way. You learn to be open-minded about new or alternative ideas that challenge your thinking. It also harnesses the power of your imagination to solve the problems that challenge society. Your scientific journey starts with your core subjects in school: chemistry, maths, biology, computing, and physics. These are the doors that will lead you into a world of subject choices you might not have heard of, such as geochemistry, data science, biophysics, and many more. You'll be able to find the subject that ignites your passion. There are familiar careers in science, like being a doctor, a vet, or working in a lab. But these are only a few of the options. From rainforests to the hearts of volcanoes, from exploring the universe to quantum computing, scientists are there, increasing understanding of how things work and using their skills to drive innovation. As a scientist, you could be creating new technologies to combat climate change, finding cures for diseases, or designing sustainable alternatives to plastics. A career in science gives you a chance to make a positive impact on our planet, and there will often be exciting opportunities to collaborate with colleagues from across the globe and even travel to different countries. As science is always developing, you could find yourself in a career that doesn't exist yet. Science can offer job satisfaction, doing something you enjoy that makes a difference to people's lives. There's also flexibility to move between different disciplines, and the incredible variety of roles and responsibilities that the scientific world offers. Science is for everyone. It's your abilities that count, not your background, gender, or race. So, with all these varied careers to choose from, what sort of scientist will you be?
So a whole world out there of things you can do with science. As I say, it's compulsory, so all your science teachers, we will see you next year, and we will be taking you through to year 11 to ensure that you get the best grade possible. So I'll see you next year. Good luck with your options process, and thank you very much for listening.